If your fish stopped eating, you're already late. Most people think it's sickness, so they change food, add garlic, try medicine. But that's not the problem. It's because another fish has already taken control of your tank. And if you miss the signs one by one, the others will shut down too until it's too late to stop. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to spot it early, why it always starts at feeding time, and what to do before another one fades. Because this doesn't look violent, it looks calm, and that's why most people miss it. Right now in your tank, one fish is eating first, another waits, one learns where not to swim, and one slowly disappears. No fights, no torn fins, no cloudy water, just quiet pressure. Watch your tank at feeding time. One fish dives in immediately, another circles wide before approaching, a third hangs back behind a rock, and one waits for leftovers if it comes out at all. That order matters because feeding order is not random. It's the social ranking of your tank. And once a fish drops in that ranking, eating becomes dangerous. Fish don't eat when they feel unsafe. They stop rushing food. Competition fades. Then they withdraw. They hover, hide longer, move slower, start missing meals. Not because they're picky, because they've been pushed out. Here's what feeding pressure actually looks like. It doesn't look violent. It looks calm. Your tank still looks peaceful. Water is clear. Filter is humming. Lights are on. Everything seems normal, but one fish is already being removed from the system. Not by force, by behavior. Dominant fish don't need to chase. They control space, timing, access. They take the center. Food comes first. Best swimming lanes follow. The weaker fish adapt. They learn to wait, approach from angles, figure out which corners are safe, and eventually they learn that feeding time equals risk. That's when appetite disappears. Not because hunger stopped, because safety did. Most keepers never notice this phase. They only notice when the fish looks thin, or hides constantly, or starts clamping fins, or fades in color. By then, the damage is already done. Feeding pressure is cumulative. It builds quietly over days and weeks. Every missed bite matters, hesitation matters, retreat matters. You don't lose fish suddenly, you lose them slowly. Here's something uncomfortable. Your tank has a hierarchy, whether you like it or not. Every tank does, even yours. And hierarchy decides who eats. Let me tell you something important. Fish don't die from stress. They die from sustained pressure. Pressure removes appetite. It weakens immunity. Confidence collapses. And it always starts at feeding time. You think your fish stopped eating, but what really happened is this. It lost position, access, safety, so it stepped back quietly. And once a fish steps back socially, it rarely steps forward again without intervention. Better food doesn't fix it, garlic doesn't fix it, vitamins don't fix it. You can't supplement your way out of hierarchy. You have to change the system. Because tanks don't fail from water, they fail from behavior. And behavior is shaped by environment. If you only remember one thing from this video, remember this. Feeding is not nutrition, feeding is power. One fish always eats first, one always eats last, and the one eating last is already in danger. Your job is not to make food better. Your job is to make access fair, space neutral, lines broken, pressure distributed. Because once feeding becomes safe again, appetite comes back on its own. Now let's slow this down and really understand how this happens inside real tanks. This is where most people get confused. They think aggression looks loud, chasing, biting, torn fins, but feeding pressure doesn't need violence. It works through positioning, through timing, through subtle movement. One fish doesn't have to attack. It arrives first, holds the center, controls the lane between the rocks, and the rest of the tank adjusts around that. Invisible borders appear, paths only one fish uses, others taking wide detours. A fish stops halfway, hesitates, then turns back. That hesitation is everything. That hesitation is appetite shutting down. This is why so many people say, my water is perfect, but my fish won't eat. Because water isn't the problem. The social map is. Fish don't care about test kits. They care about safety. And safety is defined by who controls space. Let's talk about layout for a moment. Flat open tanks amplify feeding pressure. Long sight lines make it worse. Minimal rockwork finishes the job. When dominant fish can see the entire tank, they control the entire tank. That's why adding structure isn't decoration, it's therapy. Rocks break vision, wood creates lanes, caves give exits. Every piece you place changes who feels safe and who doesn't. Two tanks can have the same water and completely different behavior. One has places to disappear, one doesn't. One spreads pressure, one traps it, and the fish live inside that difference. Here's where most people make it worse. A fish stops eating, so they add more food, bigger portions, more often, different brands. But extra food doesn't help a fish that's scared, it just feeds the dominant one. The bully eats more, the weak fall further behind. That's how the spiral starts. More food, more pressure, less appetite, more panic feeding, and somewhere in that loop, one fish is gone. Now watch their bodies. This matters. A pressured fish moves different. It sticks to corners. It floats too high or sinks too low. It avoids the middle. It waits until everyone finishes. It darts instead of gliding. It freezes when another fish comes close. That's not sickness. That's submission. And this never happens overnight. First they eat less, then the color fades, then they stop pushing back. Parasites don't create that. Bacteria don't start it. Those just show up later. The real damage started weeks ago, at feeding time. That's why medicine often fails in these tanks. You clear the eye, but the fish still can't eat safely. So something else replaces it, and people think their tank is cursed. It's not. It's just a system that's been under pressure for too long. So what do you actually do about it? You change geometry, you change flow, you change access, you break territories, you reset dominance, move rocks, add obstacles, create multiple feeding zones, feed in more than one location, use sinking food in one area and floating in another. Spread the pressure, force dominant fish to split attention. Don't let one fish control everything. Make it choose. If it can't defend everything, it will stop trying. Sometimes removing the top bully is the only real fix. And yes, that's uncomfortable, but keeping one aggressive fish at the expense of 5 stressed ones isn't balance, it's neglect. And neglect often looks peaceful until it doesn't. If a fish can't approach food confidently, it will never thrive. It might survive, but survival is not thriving. Appetite is built on safety, and safety isn't automatic. You build it, you design it, with space, with flow, with choices. Layout matters, flow matters, oxygen matters, light matters. These are not background settings. These are behavior controls. Low oxygen increases stress, it creates crowding, it increases surface hovering, it amplifies tension. Fish breathe harder, move less, and guard more. High oxygen spreads them out. It opens up lanes. It softens territory. It improves digestion and lowers conflict. It makes space feel safer. Same with light. Too much brightness exposes vulnerable fish. The strong don't mind it, the weak do. A simple dimmer can shift the entire mood of the tank. Same with flow. Stagnant areas become traps. A still corner is easy to own. Balanced flow makes ownership harder. Movement is shared. Control is shared. These aren't just environmental tweaks, they are social tools. If you design the tank with hierarchy in mind, you reduce the need to fix it later. Now think about your tank, not the numbers, not the readings. Think about the pattern. Picture feeding time. Who moves first? Who gets the middle? Who hangs back? Who eats quickly? Who waits? Who stops halfway and backs off? That order is not random. That's the social map of your tank. That's your actual test result, and it updates daily. You don't need a microscope. You don't need another product. You just need to watch. Most keepers look for signs in fins, in poop, in color, but fish speak with timing, with movement, with hesitation. That's the language. And most people never learn to read it because it's slow, because it's subtle, because it's not written on a bottle. Here's the reset. First, stop feeding, just for a day. That pause equalizes power. Hunger shifts confidence. Second, increase surface agitation. Oxygen is priority. Third, rearrange at least 20% of your hardscape. That breaks the mental map. Fourth, feed smaller portions in different spots. Make food unpredictable. Fifth, watch closely. Who still doesn't show up? Who still hangs back? That's the fish in trouble. If nothing changes for it, the system hasn't changed. And when the system doesn't change, the result won't either. So you act, you isolate, you rehome, you rebuild, but you don't wait. Time reinforces patterns. It makes them harder to break. Your fish didn't stop eating, it lost access. And unless the structure changes, the next one will too. Feeding pressure doesn't make a mess. It doesn't cloud the tank. It doesn't break the surface. It just removes fish one at a time while you look for something else to blame. Garlic, protein, parasites. But the problem is space. The problem is routine. The problem is power. Once you understand that, you stop looking at water. You start watching movement. You stop chasing values. You start adjusting flow. You stop asking how much to feed. You start asking who gets there first. You stop trusting what looks peaceful. You start trusting what feels tense. That's when things shift. That's when tanks go quiet for the right reasons. That's when behavior stabilizes. That's when feeding stops being a test and starts being a signal. And that's when your fish finally begin to thrive. Tell me something real in the comments. Which fish changed first? Was it the one that started waiting? Or the one that disappeared into the rocks? Or the one that just stopped eating? I ask because I've been there too, standing in front of a quiet tank, knowing something was wrong, wishing I had noticed it sooner. That answer matters more than any test kit ever will. If this video made you look at your tank a little differently, subscribe to Dark Cichlids. Not for numbers, just for awareness. Because when you learn to read behavior, fish don't disappear quietly anymore. Appetite isn't really about food. It comes from feeling safe. If this helped even a little, hit like. It tells me this kind of content matters. Share your story below. What you saw, what worked, what didn't. Nobody gets judged here. I've lost fish too. That's why I'm here. This is just keepers helping each other. That's it. Before you go, take one quiet look at your water surface tonight. If it's flat, pressure stays high, and stressed fish don't heal in still water. Click the next video on your screen. It's about fry dying and how most of us make it worse without meaning to. I'll walk you through what actually keeps babies alive when everything feels out of control. I'll see you there.